be on campus every day. And so my office will be open each and every day. And if there's a challenge, or if there's an issue, or if there's a question you're just not getting answered, you can certainly work through us virtually, but we will also host you and have those conversations on campus as well. And so a dean of students needs to be on the campus, and that's where I'll be. Additionally, I oversee most campus life programs, and we're going to go week by week based on what the data is telling us, based on what the institution will tell us about when we can open up some offices such as student leadership and involvement, or multicultural affairs, or veterans programs, or all the things that we know create pretty significant campus life on campus. And so we'll start virtually. I know that office is creating some weeks of welcome virtually that the students can talk about. And as we progress through the semester, we'll keep you updated. I'm happy you're on here. I'm happy you chose University of Memphis, and I look forward to answering your questions.
All right, thank you, Justin. All right, next up, Lindsay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lindsay Bray. I'm the Senior Coordinator for Parent and Family Services. So I'm actually here for all the parents and family members who are here on the call and have questions. So my office is here to help you help your students succeed while they're here at the University of Memphis. We want to make sure that you have the information that you need to help your student, as well as engage you, because you are just as much a part of the Tiger family as your student is. And we want to make sure that you feel welcome and have your place here too, so that you too can be part of our great Tiger family. So we have some really great resources for you to engage in. So we have our Parent and Family Association, our Tiger Resource Hub, which I hope you got to check out some this summer, has lots of information for you and will be available for you throughout while your student is here for those resources and questions. We also have our Parent and Family e-news that we send out. Our website is chock full of information. But what I think is most beneficial to all of you out there is really my office. So it's myself and Rachel Duvall, who is in my office, and we are here to answer your questions. You can kind of think of us as your liaison to the university. We are here to answer questions, concerns, anything that you have, you need. Don't feel like you have to try and track down that office. Feel free to email us or call us at any point in time, and we will find that spot for you, whether it's anything from little or anything big from like residence life, or small that you're just a little concerned about. So please feel free to reach out to our office and really engage with us. And we have always been virtual for you all, so we will have opportunities this fall as well to kind of engage you and make sure that you'll feel connected to the university as well.
All right, perfect, thank you. All right, Dr. Jane Clement.
Hi there, I'm Jane Clement, and I have been at the university really since about 1985. I'm currently the Director of Student Health and Counseling Services. And what we do is we help students and faculty and staff, but primarily in the Counseling Center, we deal with students who have small issues of adjustment to pretty severe issues. It could be dealing with some severe anxiety, dealing with severe depression. We are doing all of those services, including our outreach services, virtually. We went virtual back in March. We've had a wonderful success with our students doing counseling virtually. We will also do, as I said, our workshops and our outreach virtually. At the health center, we are doing virtual telehealth. We have 2 nurse practitioners who provide telehealth for students. We want students to utilize the virtual platforms at either the counseling center or the health center as opposed to coming in. However, we will have staff in both the health center and the counseling center who will be available to see students if for some reason it's more of an emergency situation. But we, as I said, since last March, we've been doing the virtual sessions, and students have responded very, very well to this.
Awesome, cool, thank you. All right, next up, Matthew Rhodes.
All right, hi everyone. Glad to have you all here. I'm glad to be here. My name is Matt Rhodes. I'm the Financial Aid and Scholarships Outreach Coordinator for the University of Memphis. So I can answer your questions about financial aid at the federal and state level, as well as scholarships. Obviously is a very common question for a lot of folks this time of year. So we are excited to help you out about that. So we also have been operating virtually primarily ever since, I guess it was March 23rd was the day when it all went remote. And so we have had a great success rate being able to service our students at kind of the same capacity and level as we would, virtually as we would in person. So our phone line is still open, 901-678-4825 for the financial aid office, 678-3213 for the scholarships office. Our email addresses are open, financialaid@memphis.edu, scholarships@memphis.edu. We have Top Desk is a system available. If you visit our website, memphis.edu/financial aid, and kind of read through the little introductory paragraph there, it'll say if you have questions, ask to one of our financial aid experts online, and it's a link there you can click on, and it gives you all different kinds of options for submitting questions to us. And finally, we've been having Zoom meetings all summer long. So if it's something that's a little bit more than we can handle via email or over the phone, we're happy to schedule a Zoom meeting with you and kind of walk through things together. We can be looking at the same things, share screens and things like that. So that is what we will have going on for the time being.
Awesome. All right, Amanda Virag.
This always happens. I get muted and then I don't remember to turn myself off.
You're good.
What I told myself was, my name is Amanda Virag, and I am currently serving as the Interim Director for Housing and Residence Life here at the University of Memphis, but I've worked with Residence Life at the U of M for the last 7 years or so. And unlike some of my peers, we have primarily been in person for the last little bit since everything kind of went by the wayside in March. So my office provides housing for students and an opportunity for learning and growth away from the classroom setting. We find a way to merge those things together. So working with students to develop through programming and leadership opportunities and some employment opportunities, while also providing them a place to stay close to their classes.
Perfect. All right. All right. We also have joined by 2 student panelists. So the first student is Leroy.
Hey, I'm Leroy Taylor. I'm a sophomore nonprofit development and organization major from Carville, Tennessee. And just some of the resources that I utilized would be definitely eCourseware for virtually. I had to learn that like the back of my hand. It's like one of the things that it will give you access to all your classes, to all your assignments. Also, one of the things that I utilize just outside of class and in person and online is I utilize a planner. I always keep a planner. I may have 2 planners because I love to plan ahead and make sure all my assignments and dates and events are lined out, because as a college student, your week goes by so quickly and you really don't want to miss and get behind on anything. So
Awesome. Perfect. Great tips, Leroy. I appreciate it. And last but not least, Cade.
Hey y'all, my name is Cade Forbes. I am a sophomore teaching all learners major, and I am from Brighton, Tennessee. Kind of like Leroy said, I love my planner. Definitely invest in one, find one that looks cute or whatever that you will actually write in and use. Something that I would definitely say I learned, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a resource, more like a self-resource that like you need to learn your freshman year, is definitely what schedule works best for you, and then also your best study habits and what's going to get you the best grades possible. Something my freshman year that I struggled with, I was used to mainly just like studying in my room at home, but when I got on campus, I really couldn't concentrate in my dorm. So I realized that I needed to go to the library, or I needed to go to the tech hub or something. So definitely utilize those resources as much as you can. I know that with most things going virtual, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do things like that. But with saying that, definitely like find your schedule and stick to that, even in the virtual setting. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to get up every day at 8 a.m. That just means that I know I've spoken with Leroy about it before, like he liked to do his work at about like 3 p.m. in the afternoon and finish it all like every day. Whereas I like to get up in the morning and finish it all and then have the rest of my day. So definitely just like figure that out for yourself. And like I said, with the virtual setting, still stick to that, whether that be, like I said, get up in the morning and finish all your work, or do it later in the afternoon, but definitely still stick to the schedule because your body will be used to it, and then it'll make it easier to grasp information and to learn and to make the better grades.
Awesome. Thank you. I am also a morning person myself, so I feel that, Kate. Thank you. So cool. So let's go ahead and transition into some questions. But first, I want to present this slide right here. This is just some, I guess, important key information as you begin to prepare for your fall semester. There's updates happening seemingly every day. Information is changing, and these are some up-to-date facts, just some of them, about the upcoming fall semester. To stay up to date for the students, please constantly check your University of Memphis email. That is the #1 way that you will receive information. So please check that daily. And then for everybody, students, family members, whomever, visit our website, memphis.edu/coronavirus updates. That way you can stay up to date about everything that is changing on campus and how we're going to be functioning this upcoming fall semester. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into some questions. You see the second bullet point there. University of Memphis has partnered with UT Health to provide on-campus testing for students. This might be a question for Justin, Jane, predominantly probably, but what exactly does that look like? Is that open for all students whenever? Is it during business hours? Do y'all mind expanding on that a little bit?
Yeah, that relationship's changed a little bit, and Jane can talk about it more. We are doing testing. The UT Health Science piece is being edited a bit, but we're currently planning on having testing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. At what was formerly the Visitor Center, which I think Matt Rhodes used to work at some time ago. And now it's an art hub. And Jane, why don't you go ahead, and since you're really the expert about what kind of test this is, so individuals understand that.
Okay, the testing, as Justin said, will be now on campus, and it will be done actually by university campus staff. We will have it staffed, as Justin mentioned, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday by some staff from the health center. What it will entail is a student, faculty, or staff member who is exhibiting some symptoms can go to the hub, and it's easy to find. It's sort of a little roundish building located at Central and Patterson. And they can go there, walk up to a window, much like you do at a drive-up bank or a Walgreens if you were going to pick up your prescription. They will give some information to the staff member there. They will then give them a small box with a swab in it. The student and or staff could swab themselves, put it back in the box. Then it will be sent to the state. These COVID tests the university is provided by the state health department. We will send them off, and we expect to get the results, which will be emailed back to the student or faculty or staff, and they will get the results. We ask that they let us know, of course, if they are positive for COVID, and then, but they should know within, I would say, between 48 to 72 hours, possibly sooner. But if we say 2 days to 3 days, that would probably be the safest. And again, they need to be showing symptoms, and then just walk up and can immediately do the test. We'll get the results back within 2 to 3 days.
All right, great, thank you. All right, so students need to be showing symptoms in order to take the test. So I guess in the event that a student tests positive as a follow-up, what's kind of the course of actions after that?
If they test positive, what they would need to do is, there's two things. If they test positive and they're exhibiting some pretty severe symptoms, then they need to go to a primary care doctor. The health center on campus would not have the facility to provide them services. They also need to quarantine or isolate for a minimum of 10 days. CDC is saying that individuals who test positive should quarantine and or isolate for 10 days. And at that point, they would need to be exhibiting no symptoms. they would need to have been free from fever, no fever, for a minimum of 24 hours. And a lot of people think, well, I haven't had fever, but I was taking Advil or some fever lowering product. It's with fever for 24 hours without fever, not taking medicine to reduce the fever. And at that point, if they were symptom free, no fever after a 10-day quarantine, then they could re-enter, the normal population. But if it's severe symptoms, they would need to consult with a doctor, their primary care physician, to see if they needed more treatment or if they needed something other than just being able to quarantine and isolate.
I think the other thing that we'd like to, what we ask students to do is also to notify my office. That way we can work with faculty in regards to any notification about class. We'll obviously keep any medical information confidential, but COVID is one, just mitigating spread, but we also want to be very supportive of students during this time. And so if they happen to test positive, then we will ask them to contact my office and we'll work through protocols with them and support mechanisms that we have in place. If a student happens to be on campus, we would recommend, if they can, to go home, that is probably the best place to serve them. But if they can't go home, and whether they have elderly parents or folks at their residents that might be compromised immune systems, we do have a quarantine facility on campus. And Amanda, would you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So we work very closely with Dr. Clement in Student Health Services in Residence Life to provide those spaces. So we have quarantine spaces as well as self-isolation spaces. So based on the recommendation from Student Health Services, we'll work with those students to get them relocated to those buildings for the time frame that they need to either be in self-quarantine or in isolation, depending on the test results and exhibiting symptoms and things like that. We have space dedicated on campus for those students, and that includes also working with dining services for providing meals and things like that, so that the student has the ability to go into those self-quarantine spaces but not be away from the ability to complete any type of work they need to do, and things like that.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much. All right. I'm going to switch to the next slide really quick. Questions from the audience. If you haven't noticed below yet, you should have a Q&A feature. So if you have any questions, you hear anything that sparks an idea, or you already had prepared questions, please utilize that Q&A feature in the Zoom webinar. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll pose those questions for the panelists. So yeah, just want to make sure that was clear. I don't believe I verbalized that earlier. So don't hesitate to use that feature below. So I guess with that being said, Lindsay, Justin briefly mentioned home, and I thought of you a little bit, working with Parent and Family Services. What are some ways that family members, guardians, friends, what are ways that the ones, your loved ones at home, whoever they may be, they can help support your students as they transition to college this upcoming fall semester?
So one of the biggest ways is to be understanding of college and what college life means. Even if your student is living at home, particularly this semester, if you've decided that your student is going to stay at home, be understanding that these demands for college are a lot different than they were for high school. So encourage your students to find that routine that works for them. As Kate and Leroy said, it's going to be different. They're going to have a lot more time and a little bit more flexibility. They may have had some experience with that this spring, if going virtual for their high school, but the classes will be different and they may be more demanding. And that's something too for parents to think about, is helping your student through this transition, and that the resiliency that might need to be had. Maybe they're going to have a few extra issues when it comes. High school may have been really, really easy for them, and college may present a few more challenges academically. So encourage them to take advantage of all of the services that are available, all the things that are virtual right now. So whether that's our tutoring services or our writing center, even the testing center if they want to test out of things. Jane's area with counseling if they really do need to speak with somebody to kind of help them through those things. So that would be the biggest thing, is just be supportive of this and really help them to understand that this is a new transition, this is a new time, and help them celebrate that even if they're staying at home, to put some blue up in the house, change up that room, really make it a fun experience to come to college, despite these kind of different circumstances that your student might be going through.
Definitely. And with so many updates now being sent to these students' emails, maybe the student isn't checking their email as often as they maybe should. Is there a way that the parent or a guardian will be able to help them stay on top of that? Or is there a way that they can be informed through all these processes?
Yeah, so they can sign up for our Parent and Family e-news if they are not already on it. So hopefully most of our parents and family members, their student put their email address down on their application, and so that got them on our prospective e-news list. And so we will be transitioning them to our main list, so they will get updates and they'll get to know things. If they want information a little bit more regularly, our Parent and Family Association also sends out emails every other week. And we may send one out just a few more times other than that too, since this is a unique situation. But that's a great way to stay connected, as well as our social media. We go through all of the other ones that are on campus and kind of try and make sure that parents have all of those dates and deadlines and those big information that's going on, that's going on, so they can kind of know what's going on campus and kind of give those little nudges when their student needs to. We know our parents read their email a little bit more than students do.
Yeah, just a little bit. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. So next question, Matt, this is going to be directed towards you. Financial aid, there are so many changes that are happening. Do any of those changes pertain to financial aid? If a student had in-person classes and now it's going to online, does that impact their financial aid? Or if a student wants to change their own classes to online or to remote or whatever it may look like, should they contact a financial aid advisor first, or just any tips or suggestions to navigate this process?
All right, so that's a great question, and I do want to distinguish between if the university goes from on campus to online or remote is completely different than if a student changes their classes, right? So if a student is changing from one section to another, even if it's the same class, for example, if you were choosing yourself to change your class from an on-campus to an online class, that can generate a different set of fees. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So that obviously would have an impact on financial aid and billing and things like that. If the university is changing things from on-campus to online, or back, from online back to on-campus, we would look back at, kind of what we did in the spring. And in the spring, we did exactly that. The first half of the semester, there were on-campus and online classes, and then everything became online for the second half of the semester. And that did not have an impact on students' financial aid eligibility at that time. The main things that would have an impact on a student's eligibility for financial aid, are going to be changes in the number of credit hours that a student is enrolled in. And this is true in the COVID-19 world, and also in the pre and what will be the post-COVID-19 world whenever all this is done. If you make changes to your enrollment, you always need to check with the financial aid and scholarships office before you do so, especially if you're thinking about withdrawing from classes. So even if your academic advisor says you should, even if your professor says you need to withdraw from classes, always check in with us first, because that can have a significant impact on current financial aid for the current semester and future financial aid. So that would be one thing to, that I really want to point out to folks. But as far as changing from the university changing things from on campus to online likely would not have an impact on aid, kind of based on the experience that we had in the spring. The student making that decision can have an impact. So might want to check in with us just in case. Students ever withdrawing from classes for any reason at any time in any semester, please check with us first.
Awesome.
To kind of answer the question.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, got a couple audience questions. And the first one that came across is, how do I get in contact with it says student advisor. I'm assuming that is academic advisor. I can really quick tackle that one. If anyone wants to chime in after I do, please feel free. But these are all NSO NSO registered students. So if you completed your modules, your online NSO modules, your name has been sent over to the proper academic advisor. And this is an incredibly busy time for the advisors right now. They are working long hours during business hours and even outside of, trying to make sure they can get in contact and advise as many students as they possibly can prior to the school year. So just know that your name right now is with the academic advisors. And when they have even a free moment, they will reach out to you. Check your Memphis email. That is the way they've been contacting students. Check your Memphis email. And yeah, I think even now, as we get towards the deadline, crunch time, look out for a phone call as well. I'm terrible about this. I do not like answering phone calls with numbers I don't recognize, but that might be your academic advisor. So might have to answer that phone call, answer that text, because it's getting down to the deadline, and these advisors are reaching out to you in a multitude of different ways. I don't know if anyone else would like to jump on that though.
I would say,
No, I guess I would say if you are having a difficulty with getting a hold of your advisor, and I do think that there has been challenge with workload, as Brian mentioned, I would encourage you to reach out to the admissions and recruitment staff, and they'll get you connected to the appropriate advisor. It is different to do it virtually than we've done it before through orientation. There was able to have a face-to-face. The reality is virtual kind of takes more time than it does for a face-to-face. So that's where a lot of the backlog is happening. Brian used to work for me, so I know Brian's very responsive. And so I would not swim in some uncertainty about getting a hold of your advisor. So I would encourage you to reach out to the recruitment staff, and they will make that connection for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have our contact information on the last slide at the end of this panel. You can email us at orientation@memphis.edu, and we'll hook you up with your advisor. Oh, Justin, sorry. Matthew, did you want to say something?
yeah, you had mentioned, if you get a phone call from an unrecognized number, especially if it's a 901-678 number, that's probably a University of Memphis number. So there've been a couple times this summer when I've called people and then I get a call back and they're like, I didn't answer because I didn't recognize the number. So, just kind of keep that in mind. And one brief amendment that I would make to my statement a moment ago about changing your enrollment and things like that, the largest impact is going to happen after you start your classes. So this would be after the semester starts. Making changes to your enrollment now, like today, tomorrow, we're still going to have time for the system to update everything before fee payment deadline. So.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Another question, and Amanda, this seems to be geared towards you. When it comes to moving in, do we get to stay in the dorm that was assigned to us initially, or now that we're beginning the year virtually, do we have to go back home until we're told that classes are in person, or what does that all look like?
Yeah, so once move-in starts, move-in is you're allowed to stay as long as you like. So the big thing is make sure you have a check-in appointment. So if you have a housing assignment, or if you have applied and been monitoring our social media for Housing and Residence Life, you have noticed that we've been pushing really hard for students to sign up for check-in appointments. That's all done through your My Memphis portal, the same place where you applied for housing. You can actually go in and pick a check-in appointment. We switched to that in comparison to having everybody show up at the exact same time, because we didn't feel like that was safe for family members that are helping students move in, as well as students, and as well as our staff that's going to be helping facilitate those move-ins. So if you sign up for a check-in appointment, from the time that you check in and we give you your key, you are able to stay in the residence house. We're not requiring anyone to leave or to go anyplace else until classes start. We are open and able to support you even though classes are going to be virtual.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Kate and Leroy, question for you. As you know, the semester is beginning virtually. What are some ways, how can you get involved virtually, and what did that look like for you, your spring semester? How did you get involved, and how are you looking to continue your involvement this upcoming fall?
So definitely I was involved a lot my fall semester, and then again in my spring semester. On campus, I serve as an orientation guide, a campus tour guide, a Tiger Lead ambassador, and then also my freshman year, I was in the Student Government Association's first year council, as well as our Student Activities Council. And all of that all comes from this little thing that we like to call Tiger Zone. It's a website. You can use your Memphis login to get into that. And basically that is, I like to call it, that's basically like the house of all of our organizations. Like all of them are on there. All of our events that we will have on campus will be placed on there, whether that be virtual or in person. So you can go on and log on there now. I always tell my new student orientation groups that if you want to go on there and start looking at different applications for organizations, or even some you can just go on and join without having to put in an application. But like I said, some do require an application. So go on there, you can search keywords. Like if you're really interested in community service or something like that, you can just search community service in the search bar, and all of our registered student organizations that have to do with that will come up. And like I said, some you can just press join, others require an application. So definitely utilize Tiger Zone. I love Tiger Zone. Like I said, that's how I became involved. I just went on there, kind of looked what I wanted to be involved in. And then when I came to campus, I already kind of knew of what all I wanted to do. So.
For me, I just want to agree with Kay with the, everything is done through Tiger Zone. Like that's going to be the house of all registered student organizations. But if once we get back on campus and you're still want to know more, you can go to the Student Leadership and Involvement office. Is on the second floor that you see. It's a great place. They will help you get connected with any organization. But also, if you follow them on Instagram, there's a bunch of different lives that are hosted. So like things like this where they answer questions on there. They also do different Zoom meetings for different topics. So follow Student Leadership and Involvement on Instagram as well. Yeah, but for me, everything is normally done through Zoom. On campus, I'm an orientation guide. I'm a Frosh Camp counselor. I also do Tiger Lead Ambassador. I also was in student government, my first semester, freshman, the freshman government one. And then I play rugby as well for the university. I can't remember that. That was the, but so there's a bunch of different ways to get involved, and Tiger Zone is going to be the powerhouse to get you started.
Yeah, definitely utilize Tiger Zone. I completely agree. All right. So question from the audience. If you don't live on campus, are there restrictions to coming onto campus without a said reason during these times?
There's not going to be any restrictions. There's just going to be some limitations to what's really open at this point. We're still, most buildings will still have card access because we're attempting to limit access and social distancing. Residence halls will not be permitted to have visitors during this time. You'll be required to wear a mask your entire time there. But we do want students to use the technology we have. There will be select labs open with social distancing. There are times where students simply just need our technology. They may not have access to Wi-Fi. And so we have created spaces within the university center that supports that. So we're open, but in phases and in spaces, but there's no restrictions to come onto campus.
Cool, awesome, thank you. Another question from the audience, and Amanda, I think this is gonna be geared towards you a little bit, but then I think it could be open a little bit, everyone afterwards. Let's see. How will we be able to get to know other Tigers while living on campus? So to me, that sounds like, will there be RA programming or anything along those lines? Because with virtual classes and social distancing guidelines, it could be hard to meet other students. So I guess, Amanda, first off, will there be ways to interact in the dorms? And then I guess outside of the dorms, how do we get to know other Tigers, I guess?
Yeah, sure. So every floor in all of our residence halls has a resident advisor, and those are upperclassmen, students that are working for our department to help guide students that are living on campus with us. And some of that guiding comes through planning programs and working to build those social engagement opportunities, but then also resources for academics and things like that. And so during our week of move-in, we're going to have some Zoom meetings where the RAs are actually having floor meetings to give information about living on campus, but then also connecting people together. And so we will have some small scale programs, but we will, like you mentioned, work with that social distancing a little bit, and the fact that we don't want to create an opportunity where everybody's together that's not safe for our students and our staff members. And so be on the lookout for all of those connection opportunities through Zoom, and then some small scale programs within our halls as best as we can in space permits.
All right, cool. Thank you. Sweet. Matthew, this is a question for you. I think this question is from either a student, guardian, family member. It seems like they're just having a little bit of a hard time getting in contact with financial aid. What is the best route to get in contact with financial aid right now?
So yeah, so I'm looking at the questions, and you were trying to, it looks like you were referring to maybe one of the Zoom meetings that we were holding. So I would say if you just want to email me about that, I would be happy to try to schedule a time with you that we can get any of your questions answered. And other than that, though, if you're not able to get in touch with me, you can certainly call financial aid 678 or 901, of course, 678-4825. Email us, and you know, we will do our best to get back in touch with you just as soon as we can. And I will send you my email address here.
Perfect. Thank you. Learn something new every day. I'm happy you guys can also see the questions. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Look at that. For the students, Kate and Leroy, is there a group chat for maybe freshmen or for students in general outside of GroupMe? How do you all communicate with one another?
So outside of, for GroupMe in specific, so every incoming freshman is in a group chat with 2 orientation guides or 1. And also in that group chat, they have other freshmen. They also have all of our contact information. Usually at the end of each session, we just follow each other on Instagram just to so that you have somebody on your feed that is also from the university. And if you need help or have any questions, you can just easily just direct message them. So if you're a new student and you aren't in a GroupMe, you have our emails because we emailed you. You can also get in those GroupMes, and we can get you connected with other students as well.
I will also say, besides GroupMe, but there are accounts run on Instagram. I think one of them is called Baby Tigers Class of 24. Another one of them is called U of M Class of 24. Definitely look those up on Instagram. And basically what those are, I know that I'm not really sure who runs them. I think it actually might be incoming students. But basically all you do, I did it my freshman year, all you do is send pictures and then like a short little bio about yourself to the Instagram account, and then they'll post it onto their feed. And it's basically just a way to get to know more of your incoming freshman class, and to, you know, maybe see their face on your Instagram feed. And, you know, that might end up being one of your best friends. Like, you might see them on campus and be like, oh my gosh, I saw your post on the Baby Tiger page, you know, and then, yeah, so that's a great way also to connect with other students as well as GroupMe. But definitely utilize GroupMe. I love GroupMe. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both. Amanda, we have a residence life question for you. I think this individual is concerned. How are you going to execute move-in safely? They're wondering, would you still encourage students to move on campus despite the first month being virtual?
That really is just based on your comfort and security level. But some of the things that housing and residence life are doing, we have a custodial maintenance staff that come through and clean every single day. We have worked in our lobbies and with our student staff to make sure that social distancing happens. Our face mask policies, we have things marked off on the floors, much like you've seen at restaurants and stores around your hometown and things like that. We have worked really, really hard to make sure that student spaces are as safe as possible. So I think it really just depends on your comfort level. I have talked to a lot of students this week already. I know it's only Monday, but we've had a lot of questions about that same thing. And a lot of students are indicating like, when can I move in? They're very excited about it. And so I think that it's just based on your comfort level. If it's something that you're thinking, maybe not the first week of school, I want to move in, but maybe give it a week or two and then explore maybe moving into my residence hall space, we would just encourage you to email us at housing@memphis.edu, and we can work to develop a check-in plan for you at that point in time. And if you have questions about other specific things that we're doing in our halls, I know that Dr. Law had mentioned just a little bit ago that our visitation policy has gone by the wayside a little bit, so that we can make sure that the people that live in the buildings are around people that just live in the building for safety and security, for risk of exposure and things like that. But we have a couple of other things in place that's on our website, and we've been posting it on our social media. So if you have any specific questions or concerns about living on campus with us, feel free to shoot us an email at housing@memphis.edu or give us a call at 901-678-2295. And we have staff present in our office and boots on the ground that we can answer those questions for you really quickly.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm not sure if you might be able to answer this question, but I'm going to pose it anyways. And if we can't, no worries, we'll get in contact with this individual. But they're worried about their dining plan and how that's going to work in this semester.
So I can touch on that a little bit just based on conversations that we've had in preparation for move-in. So there will be dining options available on campus. I know if you've been on campus and done a campus tour, you walked through our student union and saw the really great options that we have available there. Those options will be open. The hours might be modified a little bit. They're still working on that schedule, but they will be available. And then we also have our all you care to eat dining facility called the Tiger Den that'll be available as well during those times. Also might be some hour restrictions and things like that depending on campus, number of people present and things like that, but there will be dining options available. So if you have questions about dining specifically, I would recommend going to the dining page on the website. They would give you a very specific information, but they're still working out some of those details right now.
Cool, awesome. Appreciate that. Really quick, we got 6:47 at the time right now. We've got time for a couple more questions. So if we don't address all the questions that are coming in, we'll have contact information at the end of this presentation. Please feel free to contact us, and then we'll be sending up a follow-up email tomorrow during business days to all participants, just so they have the information available. So one question from a student. They are taking, and I can try to address this one. They're an art student. One of their classes is ceramics. How are they going to execute that class safely? There will be, so the classes this upcoming fall will be predominantly virtual or to begin the semester. I know classes like some of the arts, engineering, some research labs will still be conducted in person with social distancing measures in place. So best way to keep up to date with their ceramics class or any other classes that you are taking this semester is look on your My Memphis, look at your class schedule, see if any of those indicators of those classes have changed. Be in the lookout of your Memphis email. Your instructors might be reaching out to you as well with updated policies and changes to your classes. So the best way for you or for anyone is to just stay up to date on your My Memphis as well as your Memphis email to see what changes may or may not be happening to your class schedule. And I hope I answered that question appropriately. If anyone wants to jump in, please feel free. Let's see. Yeah, all right. So, Amanda, we have a question for you as well. So if you are okay with that.
That's fine.
This is a roommate question. It appears that since the announcement of classes being virtual for the first month, their roommate has decided to not come to the dorm, to the residence hall, excuse me. Will they be assigned a new roommate? Or do they just have the room by themselves?
So I think that depends on what your roommate has communicated with us. So if your roommate emailed housing@memphis.edu, we sent an email out to all students with housing applications and housing assignments with us last Friday. So if your roommate indicated that they just want to delay their arrival, we're not going to cancel anybody's housing for them. And so if your roommate indicated that they are thinking maybe in September they might come back, then we're going to hold that spot for them at the moment and work with them to develop some things out. If they indicated that they don't want to live on campus with us and cancel their housing for the fall, there is a possibility you might get a new roommate. But if you want to know about those things specifically, if you call our office tomorrow or email us at housing@memphis.edu, we can look specifically to see what we can do to assist you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. I think Justin, unfortunately, his internet crashed. So he is, yeah, I know. Classic, typical problem right now, right? But with 10 minutes to go, let's go ahead and transition to our, let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and transition to our last question. This is going to be for all panelists. I want to try to see if we can end it on a lighter note a little bit. Talk about your experience on campus. What is your favorite thing about campus? What makes this place so special to you all and worth coming here every day, or signing into Zoom meetings every day? What makes you keep coming back to this role? So let's start with Justin was first. He's no longer here. Let's start with Lindsay.
So I would say, I have been with the University of Memphis for years, just had my work anniversary and got my master's here. And I think what I really love about the university is the people. And I know that's so hard right now when we're virtual, but actually I think it's really great because you really enjoy those virtual meetings and getting to see people's faces and things like that. And so what I encourage new students to do while they're on campus is socially distance, of course, but get to know people, join those Zoom meetings, kind of reach out to other people. I know that if you're living on campus, it may feel like you have to stay in your room, but you certainly don't. Enjoy campus, like get out. It's a beautiful campus. We have Wi-Fi all over campus. You can go and sit with your laptop outside. I know it's hot in Memphis right now, but it'll get a little bit better. So just enjoy campus. It's really beautiful. Even as a staff member, I've done that before and taken my laptop outside. So I think those would be the two biggest things, is just enjoy campus and the beauty that it is in this time, and also get to know people, because this is the network that you make now that will help you for the next 20 to 30 years of your life. And that's what I would encourage parents to do as well. Encourage your student to get to know people, get to know the people that are on this panel, get to know those other staff members that are on campus, so that they can build that network and those other students as well. We did some summer send-offs this weekend, and it was amazing to hear alums talk about just the impact of getting involved and getting to know other students and faculty and staff members, and what that impact meant on their life, whether that was they're in politics now or vice president of a college in New Jersey. So take advantage of that network that is created when you're at college.
Awesome, thank you. Before we get to you, Dr. Clement, Justin put in a question, such a comment explaining why he loves the university. He says he loves what this university represents, the way it supports students and the staff and faculty commitment to student success. And I think you're seeing that right here with this panel. We have staff and students right here, right now, taking time out of their evening to help address some of these last minute questions and concerns that you all have. And that's just the culture that we have here. People, our staff, faculty, and students willing to help each other out and to make sure that you all have a successful time here while you're at the University of Memphis. Thank you, Justin. All right, Jane, how about you?
I love the energy that being on the university campus brings, even as you all both were saying, or all of us have been saying, even through the Zoom, you feel the energy of the campus, you feel the community of the campus, and it makes you want to come to work, whether it's recently been on Zoom or whether it's in person. It's just something that you're drawn to. And I do agree with what Lindsay said. Take advantage of, make connections, get to know folks. And I do have to add, the other thing that I love about the university is Tiger basketball.
Woo.
So.
Perfect. Nice. All right. Matt.
So I'll have to echo a few things that have already been said. For me, I'm a third generation graduate of the University of Memphis, a second generation employee. And I know that some of the people on this panel have heard me talk about that before, but for me, it's the university as a place has been part of my life for literally my whole life. and the people that are there, like some people that are mentors to me, people that I've known for a long, long time. Connie Dunn just retired from the vice president's office, and she was just such a big part of my upbringing. Very close friends with my mom. I've known Justin, Brian, since he was in the job that you had previous to this position, right? So I've known him for well before he was Dr. Lawhead. But it's a great place. I love the community. Kind of some things that y'all have already said. I love the community. I love how in the year that we went to the Final Four, to the championship game, how that was the only thing that was going on in this city. The only thing. These past couple of years when Tiger football has been so great. That's been, when SMU came in and we had college game day, that was the only thing happening in the city that day. And how it unites the city across all lines. This university can do that. And it's an amazing thing to see. And then also, Dr. Jane, like you said, the energy that happens. One of my favorite parts of the year, August being literally the busiest month of the entire year for all of us, and so the work is plentiful, right? But it's joyful too, especially when, it's going to be a little bit different this year, I'll say that, but when I'm able to walk on campus in August and just feel the electricity in the air because the fall semester is about to start, and it's just so exciting, and it gives you that extra energy that you need to make it through the long hours and the long days. And no, I'm not going to be able to walk around campus and see all that, kind of feel that energy on campus this year. But hey, I'm sitting in my den right now. I feel it in my den right now. And so it's something that is the university, yes, it is very much a part of my life, at a foundational level, but it's also, it's so much more than that. It's something that reaches across the community. Just being able to meet people, know people, and so many people in this community, in this state, have the University of Memphis as a common background, and it's a really great thing.
That's awesome. I can genuinely hear the passion in your voice and in your answers. So that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Amanda.
I think I could echo everything that everyone said, but I think for me, the University of Memphis, when you're on campus, you are a part of a giant family. So whether it is your peers and fellow students supporting you and making sure that you're successful, you're going to be really hard pressed to find a staff member on this campus that does not want to ask you how your classes are going, how you're feeling as a member of the community, and then most importantly, how they can help you be successful. And so I think one of the things that makes me the most excited to come to work every day and see people on campus is I know that every single person I work with on a daily basis has that desire to make sure that students are successful and be proud of the students that are walking around campus and proud of the students when they graduate, because once you're a Tiger, you're always a Tiger. And so I think whether it is seeing students engage at football games and basketball games, or just seeing them on campus in between classes, running into someone that they went to they met at orientation, or someone that they had a class with, their very first class, and reconnecting and things like that. It's really, really a giant family that you're a part of now that you are a Tiger. And so embrace that and engage in that, because it's really, really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. And let's go with Leroy.
Yeah, I everything, like even this Zoom call is like is a reason why, because here you see faculty trying to serve the students, and that's something you see all the time, is how the school serves the students. But also one of the things that I really love about the school is how the school and all serves the community. It's a lot of different service and community service opportunities, and there's different ways that Memphis pours into the city of Memphis. And I love that. I love being a part of that, because it shows that I'm not just a Tiger, but like I'm a Memphian. I'm not just, here at the school, but I'm serving the whole city by attending the school. Another thing that I really love is the sports. All of that is so fun. I love getting involved. I love everyone is so unique here, and a lot of times I talk to incoming students and they go, well, I live in Memphis my whole life. it's gonna be the same. I'm like, no, it's not. It's gonna be totally different. So I thought the same thing coming as a freshman. I thought, man, I'm just reliving high school, but no, it's a whole different world, and you won't know until you really step into it. So I'm just excited for the fall to come, and so yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Leroy. I appreciate that. All right, and to round us out, Cade.
I definitely agree with everything that everyone has said on the panel. But personally, one of my favorite parts about the university is that I am given the opportunity to grow not only academically, but also as a leader, like in my involvement activities that I'm in, and then also to grow just as an overall person. You know, a few people touched on just how much everyone on campus genuinely cares about each other, really are one big Tiger family. And I definitely agree with that. You know, you can walk around campus and just feel that. You know, like you can strike up a conversation with a random professor, you know, that you may never have their class, but you might be in the elevator with them one day, or might be walking up the stairs with them one day. And, you know, they'll be asking you, oh, you know, what's your major, you know, all that kind of good stuff. And it's just so nice to feel that on campus and to know that everyone there genuinely wants to see you succeed and wants to see you grow in so many different ways.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing all of that. I really appreciate that. That will conclude our panel. So right here, I'm including we're including just some of the contact information for some of the resources on campus. If you want to take a screenshot of this panel, of this slide, excuse me, please, you're more than welcome to. We'll also be sending out even more information tomorrow during the business day. So please be on the lookout at your email, the email you used when you registered. Thank you to our staff and our students for participating in this panel. I would, round of applause, just imagine a round of applause. Thank you all so much. And yeah, that's all we have. Thank you very much, and go Tigers.